Today, I look into my crystal ball and try and predict the future as I discuss my 2026 fantasy baseball rankings. Where do I have names like Hunter Brown and Hunter Greene? And where do I have rising star bats like Junior Caminero and Roman Anthony? Those names and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino, riding solo today, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It's going to subscribe you to the channel and give you notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on the audio side of things on a platform like Apple or Spotify, that allows 5-star ratings and reviews. We would truly appreciate it if you do that for us as well. And lastly, we're going to have some fun and get you those Locked On Fantasy Baseball championships by joining us on the Insider's Track. We offer so much more than we can in these 30-minute episodes on the Insider's Track. Ask us any questions you need this time of year, add drop questions, and then we have a lot of fun stuff planned for the off season. So join us there now. Link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. And all right, guys, listen, not everybody is, rocking and rolling in your fantasy baseball playoffs. And, even if you are, it's always fun to take a look ahead. I know I did a similar type of episode. I want to think about 2 weeks ago. I kind of did a My Guys kind of episode. I think I have a couple of same guys on this episode, but I've switched up most of the names, and I'm doing my 2026 way too early rankings preview episode here today. I got a lot of guys that I think are going to be interesting, going to be fun to see where they're ranked and drafted. So, I'm a fantasy baseball degenerate at this point, and I'm always doing some fantasy baseball homework. So I've started my 2026 rankings. Don't be too judgmental, guys. I'm still working on it, and there's going to be tweaks and, moves made along the way. But this is where I am at as of today. We're going to start with some starting pitching, and I talked about the two Hunters, Hunter Brown and Hunter Greene. And listen, one has to be ranked higher than the other. I'm going Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown has been absolutely dominant this year. Took a monster step forward in the right direction. 28 starts so far in the year for Hunter Brown. Recently turned 27 years old. I'm happy belated to Hunter Brown. Was the end of August was his birthday. But through those 28 starts this year, it's a 2.25 ERA. 167 innings, 190 strikeouts, 101 whip. He's just been phenomenal. Even a lot of the underlying stuff agrees with what Hunter Brown's been doing. If you look at xERA is a 3.13. That's an expected ERA. That's where they would expect his ERA to be rather than where it is. It's under. It's an analytic. Even if you look at a FIP, which is another one, ERA indicator is at 3. So even if that ERA came up a little bit, he'd still be one of the best pitchers in all baseball. The strikeouts are on another level. Has gotten that K per 9 way up. You love to see that from a young guy like Hunter Brown, up from last year, where last year Hunter Brown had 170 innings, 179 strikeouts. This year, as I mentioned previously, 167 innings, 190 strikeouts. You just love to see Hunter Brown take that step in that direction, getting great amounts of chases, whiffs on those pitch, not really getting hit hard, getting a lot of ground balls. You just love to see a kid like this take, such a great step in the right direction, as to where last year wasn't getting a lot of chases, wasn't getting a lot of whiffs on his pitches, still got good results, but this year he has taken it to another level and is getting great results. The velocity is up on the fastball, about 0.7 miles per hour. You love to see that. Last year, the fastball got hit at a 244 clip. This year, it's at a 178 8 clip. He's just been dominant. Sinker's been a pretty good pitch for him, made an improvement on that. The knuckle curve is doing really well. Batters only hitting 152 against that pitch. Last year, Hunter Brown only threw the knuckle curve about 12.5% of the time. This year, he's up to 17.7% of the time on the knuckle curve. So you see a change in the repertoire, how he's using the pitches is, helping in getting these better results. I just love everything about Hunter Brown, and everything says to me, I haven't even revealed the ranking yet, did I? I'm kind of burying the lead here. So I actually have Hunter Brown as my number 7 starting pitcher going into 2026. Very interesting, right? Like I said, I just read you off, all the stats, some analytics, some underlying stuff that just really shows that Hunter Brown can be that guy. I remember when he was coming up with Houston, Justin Verlander kind of took Hunter Brown under his wing and was really showing him how things are done when he got that call up in 2022 for those 20 super successful innings. Then in 2023, took a step back. Last year in 2024, just took a step in the right direction. Again, as I mentioned, the 2024 numbers. And this year, 2025, Hunter Brown's figured out he was a very high-end prospect, coming up through Houston's minor league system. So there's no reason not to love a guy like Hunter Brown and don't think he can anchor you shouldn't think he can anchor your rotation next year, because I definitely think he can. I definitely think he could be a number 1 SP in 2026. Draft him with confidence. Keeper dynasty formats, I think the value is through the roof for a guy like this right now. Recently turned 27 years old. I think Hunter Brown has at least 2 to 3 more years of potentially being a top 10 caliber pitcher. So at the moment, guys, Hunter Brown for me is easily inside of my top 10 starting pitchers going into 2026. And then just once again, I do have him at number 7 specifically. So love me some Hunter Brown going into next year. Let's talk about the other Hunter Greene. And honestly, it's such a tough call between the two of them. And maybe if Hunter Greene didn't get hurt and he was a bit more healthy, I'd have him right there next to, Hunter. I'd have him ahead of Hunter Brown, because as I was about to say, I still do have him right next to Hunter Greene. Have Hunter Greene right next to Hunter Brown, with him being in the 8 spot. So with my 2026 starting pitcher rankings, Hunter Greene does come in at number 8, having great results on the year: 16 starts, 2.59 ERA, 90 innings pitched, 113 strikeouts, and an 0.93 whip. This is what you want to see from a guy like Hunter Greene, who's got the monster fastball. Pitches in a really tough park to pitch in Cincinnati, Great American Small Park over there. So just for him to be getting these results is awesome. Still, the injury history is there, and the injury bug crept up again this year. But you would kind of almost expect it for, a guy who throws as hard as Hunter Greene does. And, just everything that comes along with it is, to be expected. He hasn't always been the prime example of health throughout his career, and even back in the minor leagues as well. But just even what Hunter Greene did in 2024 is solidified by what he's been doing this year. And I think, again, no reason to, doubt any of his ability at this point. He's done it, 2 years straight now. I just think it's durability question. That's really going to be the only thing that's with Hunter Greene, because he's going to have that great K per 9. He's really taken a step in the right direction with limiting walks, not giving up, a crazy amount of home runs, even though he has 13 through 90 innings and 16 starts this year. You don't love to see that. It was only 12 homers through 26 starts last year. So if Hunter Greene could keep that in check, no reason not to love the kid. And, like I said, I think he's another guy that at this age, 26 years old, is just, doing everything you like to see. Underlying stuff, when you look at like expected ERA, it was a 3.04. So, even if it's a little bit worse than it is now, still one of the best pitchers in all baseball with that K per 9 in the control. FIP is at a 3.21, a little bit higher there too. So even if it's a low 3s ERA with that monster K per 9, and, being able to limit those walks and hits, keeping that whip down. As far as wins go, I didn't even read off his record for this year. He's 6 wins, 4 losses. Last year, he was 9 wins and 5 losses. It was 26 starts last year, 16 starts this year. But you know what? Hunter Greene has been, going deep into starts, getting you those quality starts as well if you play in that kind of format. So you love to see it from him. And then even his last time out, Hunter Greene, just once again shows you how dominant he can be against good teams. 7 innings against those New York Mets, got the win, 12 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 0.43 whip. And then he went 6.1 innings against Toronto the time before that. August 19th against the Angels, went 6.1 innings, 12 strikeouts. Just what Hunter Greene does at this point in his career. I love him. Definitely a top 10 starting pitcher for me, specifically number 8 heading into 2026. And all right, guys, before we move on and talk about Cristopher Sanchez, Bryan Woo, and then we got some bats, like I said, Junior Caminero, Roman Anthony, those names and more coming up next. And all right, guys, I need to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I personally love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in as the live action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? If so, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. Once again, that's FanDuel.com to place your $5 bet today. And all right, guys, I want to talk to you about one more, but my friends over here want to talk to you about my friends over at Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for the hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There's so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people, and it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root cause of thinning and shedding. With a proactive approach, whether you're at work, out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off for your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. And once again, that's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. And all right, guys, one last thing for you here. We just have something important, and a little important request here. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answering questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of our $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in our show notes. Thanks for helping us out. And all right, let's get back into it. Listen, we're doing some starting pitchers here at the top, and I got another interesting name, Cristopher Sanchez. Man, it's really tough here with Cristopher Sanchez because I'm upset that I've been out on him. I want to say the last 2 seasons personally, right? After I was in on him in that 2023, picked him up everywhere, was super useful. I just wasn't buying into what he did. I didn't think it was going to be like a long-term thing. I know it was a lot of easy opponents in the end of 2023. I if I said when he got called up, excuse me, he was up for 2 seasons before that. I misspoke. When he started doing his thing, he got, moved into the rotation full time is what I meant to say, actually, because he had the 3 starts in 2022 and then he had the 18 starts in 2023. So when he got that move to the rotation, I bought in, was picking him up everywhere. Even helped me win a couple of championships. He was that good down the stretch. But like I said, didn't buy into it. The underlying stuff didn't look as good. And I missed out on the 2024 All-Star season where Cristopher Sanchez had the 31 starts, a 3.32 ERA, 181 innings pitched, 153 strikeouts, and he had a 1.24 whip in that season, right? And then again, I just wasn't believing in it. The K per 9 wasn't there. The whip was bad. The underlying stuff really didn't speak to me. And Cristopher Sanchez himself this year just, got even better again. 28 starts for Sanchez this year as a 28-year-old. 2.60 ERA, 176 innings, 186 strikeouts, a 1.11 whip to go with it. And, just he's made some changes and, he's taken it to another level. And that's why I personally have, Cristopher Sanchez as my number 11 starting pitcher going into 2026. And the underlying stuff has, all moved into the right direction this year. When you look at xERA, it's a 3.02. He's getting the chasing, he's getting the whiffs. Underlying stuff believes in the strikeouts. He's getting a lot of ground balls. No reason not to believe in him when going into this season. The underlying stuff from 2024 didn't look great. He wasn't getting the whiffs. He wasn't getting the strikeouts. The batting average against was almost 260, or expected batting average against was 260. So it was just really tough to buy into all of it when everything this year looks so much better. The sinker's getting better results, even though it's his leading pitch and it's, still getting a hit at a 288 batting average against, still doing fairly okay. That changeup is really his bread and butter where he's making his money. He has a 168 batting average against. He's throwing that 38% of the time. The slider is doing okay. It's getting a 247 batting average against, but still getting good results, getting good movement on it, getting good break on it. So he's getting it done. And with Cristopher Sanchez, I just feel like you have to buy in at this point. I'll tell you this. If you don't want to take him as your SP1, I'm not going to be mad at you. I don't think I'm going to be doing it. I think the ranking here is for respect. That's why I'm going to put him at my SP11 right now, just because after doing it for, pretty much 3 straight seasons of, giving you a low 3s ERA. This year it's a mid 2s ERA. The whip has been really strong this year, taking a step in the right direction there, with especially with the K per 9 as well. I'll say this. I wouldn't be shocked if by the time draft day comes around, if he is closer to like SP 15, 20 for me. But just looking at it for what it is right now, that's where I got Cristopher Sanchez. Let's move on. I got to move a little bit quickly here. Let's talk about Bryan Woo. I wanted to do another guy that's back-to-back. I wanted to do another guy here that back-to-back. I have Bryan Woo at number 12. So Bryan Woo, another young pitcher that has just been, really, really good. I was really impressed with Bryan Woo last year. I didn't get a lot of shares because I just didn't like where he was going in drafts. But that, shame on me again with a guy like, because I was in on guys like Hunter Brown, Hunter Greene, wasn't so much in on Cristopher Sanchez and the Bryan Woos. But that's why I kind of wanted to give credit on some of the guys that I might have, not been so into last year. You got to make the adjustments where needed. And Bryan Woo, great this year, 28 starts, 3.02 ERA, 175 innings, 178 strikeouts, an 0.95 whip, an all-star, just doing everything you want to see after last year where Bryan Woo had his 22 starts, a 2.89 ERA, 121 innings pitched, 101 strikeouts, and an 0.89 whip. So the control for Bryan Woo has been absolute money in his big league career so far, and I don't think there's any reason not to buy into a guy like this. Not necessarily, think of the Max Friedish kind of pitcher where the strikeouts aren't going to be great, but the command is really good, and the whip's going to be solid. The ERA is going to be really good, and Bryan Woo's still only 25 years old. I like the repertoire, leads with that, fastball. Sits at about 96. It's getting hit at a 153 batting average against. Sinker, is his next pitch. Throws that 25% of the time. It's getting hit at a 260 clip. Not as great as you like to see, but then comes in with a really good slider that's getting hit at a 186 batting average against. 88 miles an hour on that slider. He also throws a sweeper and a changeup. Both of those respectively being thrown at 9 and 7% of the time. And getting good results on those pitches too. So I like what Bryan Woo's doing here. Not a lot of big changes in the repertoire from last year, but definitely getting better results. That fastball, though, is up 1 mile an hour from last year. So there you go. That's the big difference in batting average against. So if he can keep those velocity gains, I love Bryan Woo. And I think he's arguably in the SP1 range for 2026, definitely at worst in SP2. And guys, before we get into the second half of this episode and we talk back like Junior Caminero, Roman Anthony, and more, those names coming up next. And all right, folks, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting the tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes the fun out of it all. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app made it super simple, and I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. Fees are included, and you know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. I love the zone deals too. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. And all right, guys, let's do some bats. Junior Caminero, man, he is having a year. I'll say this: I let the industry kind of turn me off to Caminero a little bit more than I would have liked to. I was so high on Caminero, prep season last year. Prep season really started. I'm doing fantasy baseball all year, but big prep season. I want to say December, January. I really put my head down and start getting heavy into it. I was high on Caminero. A lot of the skepticism from a lot of experts I spoke to and just listened to. He can't hit lefties. Other things of the sort. I started to buy in a little bit, so I didn't have as many shares as I would have liked. Monster season from Caminero, 261 batting average, 85 runs, 41 homers, 103 RBIs, and 7 steals, and the year's not over. I could see the argument. Some people might be putting Caminero as their number one third baseman in 2026. And if you told me that, I wouldn't argue with you or be mad one bit, because I'm putting Junior Caminero second. Just putting him behind Jose Ramirez, and that's about it. And that's a respect ranking for Jose Ramirez. I want to say Jose Ramirez is having a little bit of a down year, but that's compared to Jose Ramirez standards. And we all know how good Jose Ramirez is. But he's going to be 33 next year, Ramirez is, and 283, but he goes from 39 homers down to 27. And then in the steals department, 41 to 37. There's still a little bit of time left here. But I think Caminero, man, there's a shot. 50 home runs isn't I don't know if it's out of the question. And the thing is with Caminero, he's still so young at 22 years old that sky is the limit for a kid like this. He is so good. When you look at the underlying stuff, monster, barrels up the ball really well, does it with the best of them. The hard hit rate's amazing. He has literally has got the best bat speed in the game. There's nobody with better bat speed than Junior Caminero right now. So you just love everything from a kid that is 22 years old and is going to be a staple in this game. I honestly think he's a second round pick next year in standard 12-man leagues for what he does. You're not, and it's the 7 steals too. And, he's not super fast when it comes to sprint speed, but at the age and just the capability and the will and the want to do it, I think Caminero could be a 280 hitter, or if he hits 50 home runs, I don't think he's going to hit 280, but could he be a 270 hitter with 50 home runs and 120 RBIs, 100 runs and 5 to 8 steals easily? I'm not mad at you if you have that 1-2 turn next year and you want to take Caminero with somebody that could steal 40 bags. A Caminero Ellie De La Cruz combo. I mean, that might hurt you in batting average, but something along the lines of that might go crazy in 2026. So I love Caminero, and once again, I have him ranked as my number 2 third baseman going into 2026. Let's move on to another bat. I want to try and get more names in here, guys. This is becoming to just me ranting about some players that I really like a little bit longer than I wanted to. Roman Anthony, who's up next. Roman Anthony having such an impressive rookie season here. 71 games, 292 batting average, 48 runs, 8 homers, 32 RBIs, 4 steals. And obviously he's dealing with the oblique injury. But I think Roman Anthony is, going to have – I don't think he's going to hit 40 home runs like, Caminero. But I think 30 isn't out of the question. 35 isn't out of the question next year for Roman Anthony with a close to 300 batting average and awesome counting stats. If you look at all the underlying stuff, Roman Anthony hits the ball, super hard too. He's right. He's right. He's close to Caminero when it comes to that. The bat speed's great. He doesn't chase. The expected batting average is around 270. So I still think there's room for improvement there, but I think it's in the cards for a guy like Roman Anthony. Walks a lot, maybe whiffs and strikes out a little bit too much, but I think that's somewhere he's going to take an improvement in as a player who is still 21 years old. Roman Anthony, and where do I have him ranked in my outfield rankings? I have him at 14. Which might sound crazy to some, but I think what Roman Anthony can do and the upside, he was the number 1 prospect coming into this year in all of baseball. I don't think it's outrageous to have him ranked there. Not a number 1 outfielder, but I think he's a strong number 2 outfielder in a standard 12-man league in 2026. Just the power, the speed, the average. He's a do-it-all kind of player. He's got the 5 tools. He could be, I think in his prime, a Jose Ramirez maybe type of guy where, he could steal bags. He's got the home runs. He's going to play for a team that's got young players that could be really good. So I love me some Roman Anthony for 2026. But I want to sneak another bat in. I want to talk about Shea Langeliers, catcher for the Athletics. Listen, we talked about a lot this year how good the catcher position has been. And, there was talk about there's so many good catchers in the league. Catcher's going to be a deep position next year, so many good ones. Shea Langeliers for me, got him at 2. Got him at 2 at catcher going into 2026. Once again, might sound crazy, but Shea Langeliers takes a step in the right direction this season, and he's having a monster season. He has 29 home runs. He's hitting .262. He has stolen 6 bags. He has 63 runs, and that's in 424 at-bats. So, Shea Langeliers, man, getting it done this season for, the athletics and fantasy owners alike. So, I think, going into 2026, we draft him with confidence. It just really depends where, catchers are going, because if he gets pushed up and he's being taken super early, I'm not doing it. But you know what, man? Look at Cal Raleigh. Look at what Cal Raleigh has done this year. I don't know if Langeliers is on that kind of level, 50 home run power, but could he hit 35 plus and driving 100 next season? It's definitely possible, and it's not something I want to miss out on. But it's not something I'm going to be paying the speculative price on, because usually overpaying for catcher doesn't work out super well. But Shea Langeliers has been hitting leadoff and second in this good athletics lineup, I think, which is going to only improve next year. So definitely somebody I want to invest in. Honorable mention to Bryce Terang and Nick Kurtz. Who I wanted to talk about on today's episode, but I did run short on time. Bryce Terang, I have moved up to my 5th second baseman going into 2026, and Nick Kurtz is my 3rd first baseman. A little bit of a giveaway there if you stuck around to the end of the episode. But guys, that is all for today. Shout out, to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. So, guys, until next time, see ya.